Title: Sumer, the First Civilization, Secrets of the Ancient Sumerians. Opening scene: a sweeping aerial view of the Mesopotamian plains. Narrator: male, calm, documentary tone. Long before the pyramids of Egypt rose from the sands, long before the Great Wall guarded China's ancient borders, and centuries before the Roman legions marched across Europe, there thrived a people who laid the very foundations of civilization itself. Welcome to Sumer, the land between two rivers, the Tigris and the Euphrates, is often called the cradle of civilization. Here, over 5,000 years ago, the Sumerians built one of the first known cities, created the first known writing system, and began a journey that would change the destiny of humanity. Join us as we uncover the mystery, marvel at the achievements, and explore the legacy of the ancient Sumerian civilization. Chapter 1: The Cradle of Civilization. Scene: map of Mesopotamia highlighting Sumer, Mesopotamia, a Greek word meaning land between rivers. It is here, in the southern part of modern-day Iraq, where the waters of the Tigris and Euphrates merge with the creativity of humanity, that the Sumerians emerged. Around 4500 BCE, early settlers began to form small communities in the southern Mesopotamian plain. These early peoples, possibly from the Zagros Mountains or the Iranian Plateau, found a fertile land rich in resources. Over the next 1,000 years, their society evolved from scattered agricultural villages to a complex urban culture that gave rise to the world's first cities. By 3100 BCE, the Sumerians had transformed the landscape into a web of organized city-states, including the famed cities of Uruk, Ur, Lagash, Eridu, Nippur, and Kish. Chapter 2: The City-States of Sumer. Scene: artistic reconstructions of Sumerian cities. Unlike centralized empires, Sumerian civilization consisted of a collection of independent city-states. Each city was a political and religious unit, ruled by a king, known as a Lugal, who was seen as chosen by the gods. The cities were fortified with walls, supported by surrounding farmland, and centered around monumental temples called ziggurats, massive step-like structures that serve as both religious and administrative centers. The most famous city was Uruk, considered the first true city in human history. At its height, around 2900 BCE, Uruk may have housed 50,000 to 80,000 people, a staggering number for the time. Uruk's influence was so significant that the very word Uruk gave rise to Iraq. Chapter 3: The Invention of Writing. Scene: a hand-carving cuneiform into clay tablets. Among the most groundbreaking achievements of the Sumerians was the development of writing, specifically a system known as cuneiform. Initially developed around 3200 BCE to record grain transactions and trade, cuneiform evolved into a sophisticated system of wedge-shaped symbols impressed into clay tablets using a stylus. This revolutionized administration, law, literature, and science. More than 500,000 cuneiform tablets have been discovered, documenting everything from tax records and business deals to poetry and astronomy. Chapter 5: Society and Daily Life. Scene: Sumerian market scenes, agriculture, home life. Sumerian society was complex and hierarchical. At the top were the nobility and priests, followed by merchants, artisans, and farmers. At the bottom were slaves, often prisoners of war or debt laborers. Despite their rigid structure, the Sumerians had remarkable social dynamics. Women could own property, run businesses, and even serve as priestesses or scribes, though their rights were more restricted than those of men. Their daily lives revolved around agriculture, using sophisticated irrigation systems to tame the unpredictable rivers. They grew barley, wheat, dates, and vegetables, and domesticated animals like sheep, goats, and cattle. They also engaged in long-distance trade, connecting with the Indus Valley, Anatolia, and the Persian Gulf for timber, metals, and precious stones. Chapter 6. Law and Government. Scene: depictions of courtrooms and laws on tablets. One of the most significant legacies of Sumer was the development of law and government. The Sumerians established written legal codes to govern society, centuries before Hammurabi's famous laws. A key example is the Code of Uarnemu, dating back to around 2100 BCE. It includes laws on marriage, theft, injury, and slavery, with a system of fines and punishments. Each city-state had its own administration, with officials overseeing land, taxes, and justice. Kings were expected to uphold divine justice, protect the weak, and maintain order, a concept known as the divine decrees that upheld civilization. Chapter 7. Art, Science, and Technology. Scene: Sumerian jewelry, instruments, tools, and astronomers at work. Sumerian contributions to art and science were extraordinary. They developed mathematics based on the number 60, which is why we have 60 minutes in an hour and 360 degrees in a circle. Astronomy, tracking planetary movements and creating the earliest lunar calendars. Medicine, with prescriptions, diagnoses, and even surgical techniques inscribed on tablets. Architecture, including arches, columns, and the earliest domes. Music, with lyres, flutes, and percussion instruments used in rituals and entertainment. Sumerian art is detailed and expressive, often featuring religious themes, mythological creatures, and everyday life in intricate carvings, statues, and cylinder seals.